This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-mass.gov. That is taken care of, and I will call the meeting to order. It is October 23rd, 2024. And this is our first meeting of this session, more or less, if that's what you want to call it. So the very first thing on our agenda was to introduce everybody, because we do have our new member here tonight. And it also is just nice to sort of catch up again with everybody, since we haven't seen each other in this setting for a while. So Ellen and I, we just saw each other in the town hall the other day too.
That's
so.
right.
Yeah, I'm Kate. And
MJ, Mary Jane. I got myself a broken arm since the last time I
Oh.
saw you guys.
Oh.
I should get empathy here.
oh my gosh, did you fall?
Yeah, I played pickleball
Oh,
Oh,
back September, Labor Day. So
that's been a while.
yeah, it's still gonna take a while.
Did you have
Wow.
surgery?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
had to wait a while to get surgery too, because
Oh,
you know there were a lot of people apparently did this on
Well,
the same day.
Oh, I have a friend
I had
having
a good person
surgery on Friday
Nigerian.
for a
Nigerian,
fall
yeah.
on her wrist.
Anyway, so it's healing.
Okay, but it's your right hand. And
Yeah, so I can't
Oh,
write.
Okay.
oh, how difficult. Oh,
Yeah, very
Yeah.
difficult.
so she can't be.
And Ellen,
Yes.
want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Ellen Greer, and I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Not real sure.
So how long have you lived in Eastham?
5 years.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah, long enough.
Yeah.
And so you haven't fallen doing, because you do aerobics, so you're not. I mean,
Right. I haven't
water
fallen,
aerobics.
but I don't do pickleball just kind of for that reason,
Yeah, it's a lot of
that
injuries.
it does, you do go down, or
Mm,
injuries are common.
Yeah,
So I
it is.
understand.
It is.
The orthopedic surgeons are very happy about it, but
Exactly, yeah.
All right, continuing down the
I'm
table.
Dee Maxwell.
Okay,
I'm Beverly Hobbs.
and we have on the screen.
Hi, I'm Hilda Maroli.
Hi,
and-
Hilda.
And Felice.
Please.
Hi.
These Coral. All right.
Okay.
So we are, for the first time in quite a long time, have 7 members of our
Nice.
committee,
Nice.
which is really nice to have. So our quorum would be 4, but we pretty much, once we get going, we have good attendance. So committee organization, I am listed as chair. If there is anybody who would, I don't know how to put it. I mean, do we have to have nominations or anything? I mean, to
No.
continue on, I guess I will continue as chair. And Felice
No.
has
I think we
offered.
would all- Yes.
I know, it's like.
It's unanimous. It's unanimous, Kate.
And Felice has offered to do the minutes
Good,
this
good.
year.
Oh,
Okay.
goodness. Thank you, Felice.
Yeah.
You're
She
welcome.
She does them so well.
I know, we have
Love
talked a
these.
little bit, she's gonna work on doing bullets and making sure that she doesn't have to be overworked in taking the minutes and
Good.
in producing them,
Mm.
but still get the relevant, information. Because we
Good.
will have our, applications, and a lot of the information is there, but new information or any augmentation, Police is sure to catch in her, minutes. Because she does have to get them into the town within a particular length of time, and get them to us for the next meeting, and if they're too much work, it just isn't fair to her, for one thing, to have to do all of that. And
If I
besides,
can help you in any way, Felice, with them, just email me if I can do anything to
Okay.
help you. Because
Yeah,
you,
if anything, it would be clarifications,
Okay.
just so that I don't omit something that turns out to be important.
because your minutes are incredible.
yes, and we certainly, as we read them, especially if we have a little bit of time to read them, there's always, doing an amendment to the minutes, and that's not a negative thing. It's just to make sure the minutes adequately reflect what we've talked about. And because they are important. It's important for other people to have the access to them, but also for us when we finally do our deliberation to have that information down for us to review. All right, and so that is taken care of. I mean, and then this could be a short meeting tonight, because well, we still have plenty to discuss. Meeting dates. Ordinarily, we would be meeting every Wednesday, but I will go into the sort of glitch that has happened and let you know that next Wednesday, we won't be meeting October
Okay.
30th. Because, yeah, as I said, I'll go into it in just a minute. So then during November, it would be November 6th, November 13th, November 20th. And then not the next week, because that is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The building's closed, we don't meet. So then we skip to December 4th, December 11th. And the 18th right now is up in the air, because again, we're getting close to the holidays, people start getting ready to travel, whatever, and it's hard on the agencies to come to a meeting, and if our pile is not as big as usual, we may not need that meeting necessarily to feel like frantic about having meeting dates. Sort of like we did last year when we had a huge stack and we had a lot to get through. So then the next meeting in January would be January 8th. And we'll go from there because we end up with the holidays all on the Wednesday or Tuesdays and Wednesdays and stuff. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 meetings scheduled, and maybe the 18th making a 7th or going further into January. Because our last meeting last year was the end of January, so we do have a little bit of a time frame. That's why we try to consolidate, because this does go into the budget, which is being formulated by the select board, and they like to finalize it all. Even they could put a number into the budget as a holding place, but they do like to vote on a finalized budget, certainly in February, because then it has to all go into the warrant and everything else. And if there's any questions, then we have time to meet with them. Are there any questions about any of those dates? And we will continue to have the Zoom each time. So if like Hilda is off doing grandchild caring and, you know, if need be, that kind of thing, or,
Feeling
if,
well.
or you're not feeling
Right.
well, and you feel up to being a part of the meeting
Right.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
don't feel like you have to be, you know, and if something happens and we don't even end up with a quorum, then that will be what happens. We're all at a point in our lives where our health actually is first, should be first, and family. All right, so then we get on to the minutes. That's the next thing on the agenda. It's really just a formalization of we sort of, at the end of our meetings last year, Felice had gotten these out to us quickly, and we, you know, sort of took a straw vote by email, but this way we will formally put it on record that about the minutes. So it, you know, they're short and sweet. I will accept a motion about accepting the minutes.
I so move.
Oh, okay.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
You do it. You do it. Okay, I'll do it. At
Okay.
least I did it.
All right. So the motion has been presented and seconded, and all those, is there any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? I think we have one abstention, Ellen, because she was not here.
Right.
We'll put it that way. And then we get to all of our
May I ask one question of Felice? And I don't know if it's just this set of minutes. Do we normally put down who's in attendance, Felice?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, she has been trying to do that.
I thought so.
Because it actually is nice, since we only have 7 people,
Yeah,
and that way. And then, you know, if we also had someone else who attended and they were willing, gave a name, then we also
right, okay.
could be listening, I mean, if we wanted to. All right. Well, Kayla Urquhart in the select, in Jackie's office. I met with her in September. Actually met with her in August, and then I met again with her in September. And she did a posting of that the applications were open. She put it on social media. She has to do a legal notice in the newspaper, and it was, I believe, on the website, I'm not sure, but it was also letters, or an email was sent to all of this year's recipients with a link to the application to remind them. And the legal notice going into the newspaper, it had to be received by the Banner or the Independent in Provincetown, and then it takes like a week for it to come out in the newspaper. So, in the end, they were due in by October 18th. And there was about 2 weeks notice, along with the email and everything. And so I went in, well, the 18th, she was not available. I went in on this past Monday, and it was like this little stack of applications. It was very disheartening. So Jackie happened to be in her office, so we stepped in there and had a, you know, sort of a discussion. Kayla went through what she did, and we decided that we would extend it, the deadline, and get a hold of this year's recipients again. And the deadline, instead of Friday, it is this next Monday. Because the town hall is closed at noon on Fridays. So people got, you know, waiting till Monday, I figured, you know, there'd be a whole stack, because even if they couldn't get them in Friday, that they showed up at 2 with all their stuff and they couldn't get into the town hall, they could bring it back on Monday. Anyway.
So the new date's Monday?
Monday, the 28th.
This is Monday.
In essence, I mean, that is not out on any social media postings, but, the only one that we got from that was we got Independence House again. And I don't think that went out, because they didn't apply last year, so it didn't go out in the original email, but they saw that it was posted and such, and
Yeah.
so
What was it, on time, they all submitted?
they submitted it on time. I just
Okay.
felt like we sort of needed to have a sense. That's why I made that little column about, you know, which ones did get here on time. Then when I went in this morning, Mustard Seed was there. She's had an email from Mass Appeal. But she still hadn't heard from the Children's Place. And they didn't necessarily have to respond to her, but the Children's Place, helping our women, some of the other site law services, aid support, some of our regular ones,
Right.
we just haven't heard from.
Mm.
And the children's place, that one is like baffling. So she was even gonna give them a call in the end, because that's, you know, a big chunk of money. So, hopefully by next Monday, we will have more of these. Yeah,
I wonder if there was some way that we could make an application process that was easier for them. Such as they applied last year, and I imagine most of the data is gonna pretty much the same.
yes,
That there's somehow they could maybe rubber stamp it with a cover letter and say.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna highlight some of the differences or some things that might change, but otherwise.
right.
It'd be the same. If that would
And-
help make it easier for people to
And
get
that
stuff
was
in.
one of the things that she was even gonna say to the children's place, just get something
Yeah.
in. Because as Jackie said to me, like Outer Cape Health, yes, they're the navigator program piece and the extra funding we will be reviewing, but if they ever submit something to 2,500, she said, then you don't give it to them.
Right.
So if they haven't bothered to send that in, that, you know, which we didn't get anything last year, but we just won't be, you know, doing that. It's Sustainable Cape Cod, she said she hasn't even gotten any requests for the money that we did get though, because there is a form they're supposed to fill out and get back to Kayla.
So they never picked up the money that
So
was
they haven't
allocated
gotten
already.
their
Oh,
money
okay,
this
okay.
year, so they probably are not going to apply.
Yeah.
Family Table Collaborative is, they have been very active in what they're doing.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I'd be sort of surprised
Give
if
it a
they
shot.
did apply again in a way, because they have done a lot of other
They're very active, yeah.
yes, fundraising and working, and I think they're really trying to make themselves be self-sustaining.
Okay, good.
Kate, can I ask what happens to, you had mentioned that someone didn't pick up their money from last year. They didn't ask for their funding from last year. Does that funding get added to this year or does it just get lost? I don't mean lost, it goes back into the general fund.
At this point, we have been asked to level fund, but that was in last year's funding, and that's what our level funding would be.
Would be,
Would have that money,
okay.
I would assume. When it comes close to the time, we might hear something, you know, to change our number. Because I know they're working really hard on the budget, and there's been some. They're really trying to keep it close to the bone. Which is good things, because I mean, you know, nobody needs their taxes going up at this point in time. But if it's in this budget, as such, and that is what is on, Kayla gave me through Rich, a listing of what is budgeted for them currently. And they match up. What we recommended is what is in the budget. So that $500,
Take a
yes,
shower.
would stay in there at this point.
Excuse me, could
Yeah.
could
go
I
ahead.
ask for clarification? Outer Cape Health Services did or did not claim their funds?
Oh, they have claimed it, but they haven't sent in an application for
Oh, okay.
$1,500. The separate, remember, we have 2 lines for them. And so it's just the separate funding for their general fund, not the special grant programs that, like the Navigator, that we also hear about.
May I ask another question? And maybe it's been answered in the past. So we give them the funding, they tell us what they're gonna use it for, more or less. Does the town or do we ever see at the end of the year what they've actually used the money for? Is there any accounting of that?
No specific,
Okay,
other than in the application, it does ask for see if I have, I don't, your community services, for which services, would this be allocated for the new year? We have not, and that could be a question that we can be asking very specifically.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
How did they use it?
and we can ask that of them, each agency, but it
Yeah.
would be.
It'd be good to hear in accounting.
Yep,
Yeah,
and for some of them, it is difficult.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because, but
Right.
even if it's in a narrative form,
sure.
how it.
We don't ask for specifics, so it would just be generally, what did you use? Did they
Yes.
find the money helpful?
Hmm.
They obviously had a need for it, so,
Yeah, I mean, you're right, every agency has the need for any money that comes in the door, because
Right.
that's the nature of these agencies. But it would, if we could figure out some wording on that, that would be a good thing, we can add it into the application for
good idea. Mm-hmm.
next year,
Kate,
for
what is
sure.
the 12,000 next to out of K four again?
Last year, when Jackie came in towards the end,
Right.
she said that money is an additional sum of money that is being allocated to
Out of K
out
service.
of Cape, but in actuality, it will be more, I believe.
Getting a navigator.
So they're gonna get the 25 and then they're
That's what I
gonna
think.
get whatever. else.
Yes,
And
because
that's a
we
given.
do have the
That's a given.
2,500 on here in one place, but then there is.
But it says plus 12.
The navigator program is listed here as $43,000 rather than, which would be,
35, 37.
that's
25.
37.
37.
It's like another
That's fine.
$5,000.
Oh.
And
Okay.
that money is coming through another grant or some other application that the town has done.
Okay.
And they are running it through our budget.
Right.
There is another one, and Jackie is going to come to a meeting at some point and let us know some other issues, other things that are going on with the whole budget and, in
And
town.
the 2,500 is the navigator.
No, the
What-
2,500, it was just like general funding
The
to
navigator was 44 something or 45.
43.
43.
Yeah.
and
Yes,
then-
it was 20,
okay.
yeah.
Are we talking about
And-
2,500 or 25,000?
No,
It's
if you
both.
look on the sheet that has all the
Watch those zeros.
recommendations that we
Yes.
listed, you'll see Outer Cape Health listed twice.
Twice, and it's the 2,500 that you're talking about.
Yes, and then the next one, the 25,000 plus, if I put in the 12,000, because that's what Jackie told us last year.
Okay,
But it is now up to,
18.
it's now 18 or 17,000 more, because it's
Okay.
18,000, because it's really 43,000.
Okay.
But we will be just asking them, we will have them come in and talk with us about all the things that are going on there. As far as this funding goes and what the programs are attached to. And I'll try to get, well, when Jackie comes, which I'm hoping is in the next couple of weeks. Some, like specifically what program should we be looking at? Because it's behavioral health, there's, some things, some other things. It isn't just their doctor-patient program. And, that type of thing. That's what the 2,500 would have gone to what, potentially people not being able to pay their bill. This the 43,000 goes to specific programs that they are running.
okay.
Okay. So. Like that, how we choose overall. So we right now have this stack. Begins with food well, family pantry,
Mhm.
food for kids, homeless prevention council, housing assistance, Independence House, we got back again, Lower Cape Outreach, and Mustard Seed Kitchen. And we will have Mass Appeal. Independence House came back with the same amount that we had been giving them, the $7,500.
Mhm.
That's, you know, the amount will go towards later discussion. The others were all, you know,
It's not
a little bit more than what had been awarded for them. And sometimes when they list what their award was for last year,
Mhm.
sometimes it's the year before and whatever, but that doesn't matter. I did get a hold of Family Pantry and Homeless Prevention. Hadley Luddy from Homeless Prevention, she said, can I meet you in November sometime? And because I know, I said, I understand that you're really busy right now, but maybe you would want to do it now, you know, next week rather than later.
Holidays.
But she came back and I offered her November 13th as a time, and so she said yes to November 13th. So homeless prevention will be November 13th. Then Family Pantry came back with an away message, and she was going to be away for the whole week with limited email. So I wasn't going to get an answer from her. So I sent her another email and said, let's just put you off also, because she's not going to come back on Monday, answer emails and come to a Wednesday meeting. It was like, that's, you know, the poor woman, she's got other things to be thinking about her first week back. And I'm hoping it was a real vacation because she certainly deserves one. But, so I offered her also November 13th. And so
Which one was that now?
Family
Family
Pantry.
Pantry, okay.
So I figure I will hear from her next week sometime,
So what did you offer her again? Kate?
November
November
13th.
13.
So
But homeless prevention is.
is a
November.
definite for November 13th.
Okay, so we get two sometimes? two
Yes,
presenters?
yes.
Okay.
So that's what we usually do, is have one at like 6:45 and
Okay.
then another at say 7:30.
Okay.
And this past year, many people did come to the meetings as opposed to joining us through Zoom, but having Zoom, sometimes it really made a difference to the person, because, you know, for a half an hour to come a distance,
Mhm.
like housing assistance, they could also have several different people join the meeting. And they were all on Zoom,
Mhm.
and they're based, you know, they have an Orleans office now, but they're based out of Hyannis more or less. And so it's, you know,
Yeah.
especially as after it's dark at night, that's a lot, and they've been working all day. So, that's what we tried to do, is have two a night, and then and no more than that, because at that point, that's been a lot of information that's come at us.
You got anybody for November 6th?
So at this point, I haven't yet. So, and since I had asked them for October 30th, and then this whole thing without not getting too many people, I am going to take us off the calendar for October 30th. And just not do a meeting, because we also don't, if this is all we get,
Mhm.
we'll be done.
Right,
So,
just do one a week then.
yeah, we could, and then
Yeah.
have more of a discussion
Yeah.
about them. So at this point, I have those two, but we could think of food for kids. Because I think something like housing assistance and Independence House are really heavy hitters. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna start with those
Mhm.
because it
Mhm.
just takes a lot.
Yeah.
So I was thinking potentially food for kids and maybe Mustard Seed Kitchen for November 6th. Those would be possible.
Lady.
Hmm?
I
She's
love
great.
that mustard
I
seed.
know,
I know,
She's
I
something
know,
else.
I know, he's so sweet.
Very
Oh
biblical.
my gosh.
Oh,
And both of those we could do in one
Uh-huh.
night. because they're not
Yeah,
so heavy with
Heavy, right.
information.
Maybe she's six.
And those should be hopefully
Food for kids.
November sixth,
Food
and
for
then
kids.
I'll go from there.
Food for kids, yep.
That's okay.
You know,
Church of the Holy
potentially.
Spirit.
So one thing, by doing
Yeah.
two a night, we do get through things and then can we
Yeah.
be done, but we'll see how many more we get.
Right. Can I just ask a question? Like,
Absolutely.
why do you think that all these agencies didn't apply? Like, what,
No.
is this like a grant cycle? Are we
Oh,
in?
yes,
Is this
yes,
this is
yes.
when
I
they're
mean, like
usually
the
doing
Children's
it?
Place has been doing this for
Yeah.
years. And
It's just kind of weird, yeah.
it is very strange.
Yeah.
Mass Appeal is, it's the Jessica, I think it is, it's her or her.
Okay, all right,
And
yeah.
last year she had COVID and it, you know, she's
Okay.
got, it's, so I'm, not too surprised for that.
Well,
The
didn't they have a fire or some flooding or some
might have
disaster? Yeah.
Flooding
Oh.
there and stuff, so I'm, that one is fine, but like site law services, again, that is one they've applied for years.
Yeah.
And helping our women, I mean, they have gotten
I'm
other
surprised
funding,
at
but
that.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised that Gwen has not.
Especially since now
They're
they
here.
released him.
Yeah, they're
Yes,
right, yeah.
yes, and such, so
Hmm.
with an email directly to them to tell them that it's there. And as you said,
Yeah.
making the process easier, but very often it is a lot of the same information.
Yeah, I
They can
think so.
take last year's and just tweak it.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like it's a lot of new information.
Okay.
Are they applying to all of the towns at the same time?
That's a good question.
Not necessarily. Now, the next thing on the agenda is a meeting that we have been invited to in November
Orleans.
in Orleans.
Yeah.
I did just see Truro had theirs just opened up
Okay.
for their applications. It was just
Okay.
listed in the
Mhm.
paper.
Hmm.
And one thing that had been tossed about other years was maybe standardizing the application.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be easy.
So that, or at least, trying to make it be something that isn't too, right.
But answers all the questions.
Answers all the questions, but somehow makes it a little bit easier on them,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
that's right.
possible.
Mhm.
Or if we have one sort of set form that we could augment if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Do you know, Kate, colleges now, I don't know if you had children,
Oh, yes.
we
Oh,
all had college
Yeah.
kids. And every college required a different application, a different essay and the whole thing.
Yeah, now it's. a
We
sta-
now, it's totally different. It's one application and one, so I mean, I think we could easily come up with a
Oh, yeah,
very general application that you submit it to one town and it goes to everybody. And maybe if there's one little thing that tweaks for Eastham, a special thing about Eastham.
well, because we do post it on the website, so
Yeah,
good with a couple of extra stars or make it be noticed.
right.
This is something additional.
Mm.
They have, I know at one point somebody said, could it be electronically submitted? But I sort of feel like having the paper in front of us is better for when we are sitting at our meetings.
Mhm.
Rather than us all somehow having our
On an iPad,
computers with us
yeah.
to go through it all. So we do need the printed form, and for the town to have to be the one to print it. No, they could submit it with, and for instance, some of them send in their brochure with it, whatever. So I feel like they could still
They're supposed to,
print it and provide us with the copies.
how many copies did you ask for?
8. Because one sits in the town hall and then there's 7, so it's not that difficult to print them out, and not everybody has a printer easily
Yeah.
accessible.
Right.
I mean, I do, but I'd be asking the town for money if I got the form and had to print it for everybody and get it to
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, so I just feel like there's some kind of responsibility on the part of the agency to provide the copies that we need. A quick little thing to put in there about the copies is that I have done it myself, and I had said this to police, other years, old copies of these applications, there is a lot of information on it. They will shred them for you here. And you do not
Oh.
need to take out all of the staples. They can go through their machine. They have a big one. But then you can clean out your
I
closet
know,
and stuff.
I keep meaning to do that.
Yes. One year it was like, oh, the stack has gotten way too big. And you want to, that way it's recycled more or less.
Yes, yes.
Because it's
Good thing.
shredded and such, but you can't really put some of this information into the recycling bin. It's just sort of, I don't feel fair.
Right,
It's
Right.
got names, phone numbers,
has to be shredded,
etc. And I just don't feel like that's the place for it.
has to be shredded.
Besides,
Stove, so I.
yes,
There you go.
we do some things too in the wood
Yeah.
stove too, yeah. Just don't put too much. My husband would be,
Oh, yeah.
anyway. Okay, so that was.
So Orleans Human Service Committee, he
Yes.
wants to come talk to them?
So, let me read the email that I got from them. Hi, Kate. I hope this information that you are the chair is up to date. As chair of the Orleans Human Services Advisory Committee, this is from a Suzanne Moore. I am writing to invite the Eastham Human Services Advisory Committee to join us either in person or remotely in a discussion of Lower Cape human service issues and resources. We will meet on Thursday, November 14th at 11 o'clock in the Skakit room of the Orleans Town Hall. Zoom participation will be available and refreshments for in-person attendees.
Okay.
We hope to identify potential regional opportunities for service coordination and problem solving that will benefit all of our respective townships. I also will be extending this invitation to our human service counterparts in Chatham, Dennis, Harwich, and Brewster.
Oh, nice.
Then please share this information with your Human Services Committee and contact me directly with questions, comments, and hopefully an acceptance of our invitation. I have for contact info. They did not, interestingly, invite Wellfleet and Truro and Provincetown. They all do it similarly to what we do. I know Wellfleet accepts application and Truro just did their notice, and I guess Provincetown, because Jackie Beebe, I did send this to her and talk to her about it, because I wanted to just let them know that we would be just talking to other towns.
Hmm.
So I think it will be interesting to hear, just take part in this and hear what the process of other towns bring up a standardized application. And, here to some extent what, if you think of, service coordination, problem solving, I don't know what they're sort of going after
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that. So
I
to
agree.
see
Right.
the thrust of it.
Just a yes, no for the money.
What towns are they inviting? Chatham,
Uh,
Harwich,
Chatham,
Dennis?
Dennis, Harwich, and Brewster.
Brewster.
And, there are services in Orleans and definitely our people go to there. Harwich, we might have some more in common, but Dennis and Chatham are sort of a stretch, but for Orleans, that is, more in their
In their
group. So
group, yeah.
I feel, I think it's good that we're involved and then, I may or at the meeting, when, ask why, or would Wellfleet and Truro, or we could do our own coordination with them. But just to see what's they're suggesting. Certainly, we're not going to commit to anything. We would have to discuss with the powers that be, because we are an advisory committee. We can't commit to anything, but, I think it might be interesting to hear what they're,
That's the November 14th at 11
November
a.m.
14th at 11. It's a Thursday
Right.
And whereabouts?
at the Skakit Room in Orleans Town Hall. So what I have not gotten back to her. I said that we were going to be discussing this. I can let her know. I mean, you do not have to commit tonight, but maybe over the next week.
It would be interesting.
If you would let me know if you can make it, then I will give her that information. How many
November
of
14th,
us?
Okay, that's 2 weeks away, yeah.
Yeah. How, how many of us would be going, and,
I'm curious.
yeah, I think it would be an interesting thing, and
Yeah.
just, we could all sit and take notes.
Take
and
notes.
We will let, and I told Jackie that we would let her know, and I also let Jamie Dimitri, who is our select person liaison, let her know about it also. Just so we're not we're not going to something in a vacuum, but at the same time, and, we can go and it can collect information. That's,
Mhm.
the best you can do and
See
see.
how other towns are doing stuff. I'm
Yeah.
most curious.
Yeah, and bring up the issue of a common, if they're using an application.
Form. Because it isn't kind of like by state requirements that they have to put in certain,
No.
information, no?
No, because in actuality, this application has gone, it's. At
This
least
is
I
East
don't
Ham's?
believe
This is-
so.
these
This
are
is
East
East
Ham's?
Hams.
Requirements,
Yeah,
that
this
they,
is East
you
Hams,
know,
and
give their
it used to
mission
be even
statement.
longer
okay,
with more information requested.
okay.
And sometimes it would be filled out and sometimes not. And a couple of us sort of looked at it and tried to squish, put it
Mhm.
together so that it wasn't quite as cumbersome
Mhm.
and get the meat of what we wanted from the agencies.
Mhm.
And different agencies give you more information than others. And sometimes they give you so much that it is. But the idea that, like, I'm looking at Lower Cape Outreach, they list how many East Ham people were served
Right.
Right.
and the
Right.
cost. And so in essence, that
That's
is
very
the
helpful.
answer to Hilda's question.
Mhm.
They are telling us how their money got used.
Right,
Right,
Right.
right.
right,
And it was
Right.
just it barely covered two of those, the Thanksgiving baskets and the holiday toys. The
Right.
rest of it, the pantry orders and the financial assistance, it doesn't even come close to when they were given, $10,000.
Right.
So we know where it went to. And it,
Exactly. Mhm.
and that's the type of thing that,
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
application covers it. It's in
Yes.
writing. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It'd be interesting just to even compare the forms that
See
are
what
sent
they're
out
doing.
to see what differences are between towns. and what are
Yes,
the commonalities
yeah.
between what is asked.
And
information that's requested.
I think one of the things that I
Very
may,
similar.
maybe I'll ask Suzanne to ask people to bring from each town,
Right,
a
Copies of-
little,
just a blank.
a
copies of
blank
the
application.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, be able to give a quick synopsis of how they do
Process
their,
Yeah.
how they
Or if they
deal
can
with
bring
their
enough
application.
For each town.
Right. Harwich, I don't believe does applications.
Oh.
They have a staff person who deals with things.
Oh, really?
But I'm not sure if they have applications that just go through that and don't have a committee.
Right.
So that,
Hmm.
okay.
so, let me just ask about the funding, so. We don't have like X amount of money and we divvy it up, we just say, these are all the requests and these are our recommendations to give, and then the town approves to pay that much money.
Well, in a way,
That
yes,
much
we
money.
do have a set amount, so on the bottom, when what was recommended last year, the
Right.
$93,050 is basically our budget.
Okay, for,
That does not include the the lower Cape, I mean, the outer Cape health money.
And it sounds like
Oh,
there would be an
this,
additional 500 that's. sustainable
25,000, it's not
contingency.
included in that?
Yeah.
That's
So
weird. I wonder why.
Sure.
Additional, that one that,
I don't
You
think
sure?
it is. Oh, wait, no, I think it is. I think it is
Yeah,
involved in
just
there.
it
But
wouldn't add up.
so what we have is this much money to allocate
For 2026 or
for 2026, the FY 2026, which begins July 1st, 2025.
Right,
And so this money will go into next year's budget that gets voted on at town meeting.
okay,
So yes, we have this. We have a tendency to look at what we have funded with an agency previously and potentially have it remain the same or increase if we had money to increase, and don't decrease any large amount. But it's not out of the question that we can say, no, we're not funding you this year.
yeah.
But we
Just
would
to-
have
Does
to
it happen
have,
often?
if it was a large amount, we would have to have some good justification.
Yeah,
Right,
Because then this recommendations goes to the select board,
right,
who will look at it, and if they saw what they thought was a major hole, they may come back and ask us for our justification.
mhm,
Kate, I just want to clarify something that Ellen just said. Okay, the 93,050 is our budget, which includes the Outer Cape. Well, it's question mark $43,000?
Not 43,
No.
no, it would include.
It's 25 of
It
the
would include-
25. Okay.
Yeah.
So the 17 that they
mean,
need to get to the
you would-
43 comes from something else.
Total, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and in actuality, our line item will grow by that other amount, but we
We don't have it.
have it to allocate.
We don't have power.
Our- the
Okay,
Select board is allocating it.
okay.
It's just, but we are asking them to at least have to speak about their program to us.
Yeah.
So are you
Mhm.
totally? I was
No,
gonna
no,
say
no,
something
no, no,
to Total
no,
it
no,
up,
I'm
and we
getting
would
some-
know for
some of
sure.
these dates down.
Okay, because this is what, there's other information in the list that I received from, it has different things in here, but it, so I was adding it up and trying to make sense of the number that was given to us, but it is, the numbers that were here for the different agencies we funded are exactly what we recommended. So that is the money that we will have to give out. In essence.
okay.
Great. Thank you.
It feels,
Because some people are asking for more money, so wouldn't it add up to more?
I didn't add up to this year's, the 2026 request was not added up.
Right, because
It-
we
and it
assume they're
will,
not
it
all in,
always-
right?
Ellen, every year we get this out, these requests for a lot more, and it comes
Yeah.
down and it's like, 50,000 over what we have
Yeah.
to
Okay.
give out, and we sort of go,
Okay,
would be nice if we had that money,
Yeah.
but we,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do some
we,
subtraction.
And we don't have all the requests yet, too.
yeah, right.
So we
That's
don't-
why I didn't total anything, because it was fruitless to put down something that, I don't have all the numbers for. So, it's you'll find it gets, because once we hear from an agency, it's like, they're doing great stuff.
Yeah.
Why can't we just give them what they want?
I know.
And they're, and
Okay,
you want them to
taxpayers might
keep,
not be happy, yeah.
be successful. And then it's like, okay, but that's,
That's the bad part. of
we
having-
can't do that.
Kate,
Until Bill
could I,
Gates comes and visits, or Melinda Gates comes and visits.
can I ask about Outer Cape Health Services? They've had another major management upheaval,
Right.
and I was wondering how, if at all, that will affect our decision-making or our ability to review.
It will be more our ability to review. I will be getting a hold of somebody there to be able to have people come to talk. We have to understand that those are their struggles, but if the town is administration is involved with this grant, then we can hear about the programs and
Right,
can't
Well, I
they
think
know
they're
about the
based-
upheavals. They
Yeah.
know about all the upheavals also. So that's not gonna be within our,
no, right, but I think, they've managed to maintain a certain basic level of service, which is what we're
Oh,
more interested in. But this seems to be a recurring problem there, and it would be, I think, good to know, to the extent they're able to discuss it, what, if any, influence these issues are having over, staffing and supply
well, I think we can
procurement.
ask about staffing and a few issues, but I think we have to, I'm not sure it's within our,
No, it's not in
oh.
our purview
right.
technically, but I think overall they've had this pattern. It seems to be recently an escalating pattern of challenges.
Right, but
And
some of it is also related to housing and living on Cape Cod and, some issues.
yeah,
So. So we'll have to figure out how to, if we can, sort of go there with questioning them. We won't be talking to them right away anyway. 'Cause
right,
we'll get through some other things. And get through the agencies who have applied, and then that is a review that we will do. So it'll probably be January, and by that time,
right.
hopefully they'll have their feet on the ground.
Have we ever heard, or do you know of any discussion that between Cape Cod Healthcare and Eastham or Orleans regarding the services that they were providing in their facility in Orleans? And whether or not those services would impact people in Eastham?
Which place in Orleans?
It's right where the Lobster Claw used to
That's
be.
Cape Cod Healthcare. That is.
Yeah,
Cape
no,
Cod.
that's my question.
It's
Cape
not
Cod Healthcare, at least to my knowledge, has never approached Eastham for any type of funding. And I just wondered if you had heard or were aware of any
Aren't they part
discussion.
of Hyannis Hospital?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but they
no,
opened an outpatient facility
Yeah.
that I think was only scheduled to operate for 6 months a year during the tourist
does.
season.
Right, the
But
urgent care.
They
yes,
were hoping there was an outside chance that it was going to have year-round physicians. But, they're all struggling to recruit
right,
medical personnel. And so it's not, they staff it during the busy season, and then they put their staffing in the areas that are busier
Right.
at other times. So
It wouldn't be cost effective, I wouldn't think, for them to staff up there because of the number of people in the area at that time.
Right,
of
they
the
were
year.
looking to have some year-round physicians, because we could use some of that
Yes,
around here.
Yes, definitely.
My
And so
position
they,
is there.
Hmm?
My primary care position is there.
It's there, yes. They have,
Medical
they have
office is there.
primaries
In
there.
Orleans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that urgent care building.
the
Yeah,
urgent
yeah.
Mhm.
So they're starting to do that.
Yeah,
type
no,
of
he's
thing.
been there a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was, Orleans Medical, so
Yeah,
that they moved.
so
him
they are, it's the kind of thing
there.
that
So,
they're looking to
I think
use it because it's a great
more
building
profit.
and to not use it year round. But they have never approached us for funding for anything, and that's not what Cape Cod Hospital is doing anyway.
Right.
They get their,
They get their funding from the government, straight ahead.
they go right around us, yeah. Okay. All right, so I will, in a week or so, I will send out an email and we, ask you about coming. Are you gonna come to the meeting? And,
Okay,
for the November 14th meeting,
good.
so that I can get back to Suzanne Moore.
Suzanne Moore.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, I think it's a nice idea.
It is,
Talking
it's a
costs.
great idea to get started, to find out what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on and because we all do these little pockets and I don't know if it'll change anything we do, but it will be interesting to know what other people are
Yeah,
doing.
give us
And you
ideas
can
or give
find
them ideas.
on their
Big
websites or in their yearly books what they're funding and such.
Yeah.
But potentially they're doing the same kind of thing, a little bit of introspection and trying to figure out, is there a better way to do this? And such. We have to think about what Eastham people need and can access.
Right.
So it may be different than
Yeah.
Orleans,
Hmm.
Harwich, Brewster, but it also, there could be some things that could be the same. All right. Does anybody else have any other business? As I said, we won't be meeting next week. So we would be meeting November 6th, then. Hopefully we're smiling. And I assume the election will be in here, and I've been told it will be ready for meeting on Wednesday. But if they're
On the sixth, yeah.
on the 6th. Because even if they had to do some kind of a recount, I'm sure it would
Yeah.
either be done or it would be being done at
In one area.
in one
Yeah,
area.
over there, right?
So. It'll be, it's an interesting time.
Looking forward to this election being over.
Well, just the signs that are creeping up everywhere, just all the news that goes back and forth, my head is spinning and the ads on TV and
I just reading.
like your info.
Okay, we can all do that.
It is.
Disgusting. So,
Okay.
right.
So I think I covered. Let's see. I think this was the one that I was taking notes on.
I think you did a good
think I
job.
Covered it all.
You did a great job, Kim. You pulled this right together.
And,
Feels like we picked up right where we left off.
yes, yeah, but there were a lot of little pieces and it felt like.
That's so bad.
when I-
Yeah, no, very smooth.
You good idea.
Tight agenda, you did it all. You did it. Very good.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
I had no words. Beverly wants the motion to adjourn.
All right, I will.
1, 2, 3.
Is there a motion?
There is a motion indeed.
Is
Once
there-
you make it.
is-
There's motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn on the table. Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Okay.
There you go.
Any discussion?
Well, it's good to
All
see
those
everybody.
in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, everyone.